What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel. So after recently hearing about season 2 of Classroom of the Elite being aired, I decided to rewatch it from beginning to end to refresh my mind of what it was all about. And I can say this shit is as dope as it was the first time I saw it. It's almost better a second time because I'm able to put more attention into the characters and the subtle ways they act instead of just broadly watching it like I did the first time. The main character, Ayanokouji, is as mysterious as ever, never quite making friends, always thinking of what others may be thinking about him and analyzing every situation to the extreme, even to the point to where his fellow classmates and teachers start to realize he's a bit different. Now for those of you that are not familiar with Classroom of the Elite, here's a quick rundown. The anime is based in a high school like many are. There are 4 classes ranging from A being the higher noble class type student all the way down to D, with D being the lower, not as smart or well mannered, and treated poorly by the upper classes sadly, and even by the teachers of the upper classes also. In this school they are forced to all move up as a whole until they graduate, and they need to get to class A to graduate. I'm guessing it was more of like honors. I never really got too much information on that part, I kind of forgot to be honest. And as a whole class they go through many mental and physical challenges, but can move up solely if certain requirements are met, and they go up based on a point system where they are given 100,000 points, where every point equals 1 yen every first of the month, which they can use to buy food or other necessities that they may need. And they are given these points also based on how they perform as a class together, so they have to really make sure they keep each other accountable. And you can see how that could be hard in a classroom full of misfits, I guess you could say. So that's basically a light rundown of the show. You may be asking, why would they go to a school like this and what's the point? And well, it's because those that graduate get to go to the internship or university of their choosing with 100% guarantee, which makes sense to me why they would go through all this extreme shit. But with a reward like that, I can see how a lot of people would be inclined to do it. Imagine if you could just go, you know, get stranded on an island and get fucking accepted into Harvard. I'm sure you'd have a whole army of people waiting to do that. So as I'm watching the anime go forward, I start to notice Ayanokouji is almost more violent than one notices at first. Those blank stares he gives people are him basically fucking people up in his mind and probably thinking of how to get away with it. There's even a scene where he looks like he's about to fuck up the teacher, and I mean, yeah, she was threatening him in this scene, but still. Nonetheless though, his patience for all his classmates and even some of the situations he gets into is pretty impressive despite him seeming to dislike them. So he gets dragged into all types of situations without really wanting to even be a part of them. He just wants to live a normal high school life but be under the radar at the same time, which is why I think he decided to score low and get placed in class D, because he's obviously smarter than he lets on. But at the same time, I can't help but think if he's an insider for some organization because of how smart he is and what his true goals are, is he a lazy genius similar to Shikamaru, let's say from Naruto, just, you know, normal? Or is he more crazy type of genius like L or Light from Death Note with more ulterior motives? I'm really curious to see what becomes of him, and even when he is shown affection or positive emotions, he doesn't really respond too deeply. Even with the negative emotions, he seems to give less than a fuck what people think about him. Except that one time with a teacher, but even then he didn't really show much of body language. His face stays the same, just blank, and always seems to stare down at people in a way that's like saying I'm better than you. He's very isolated from the rest of the class. He tries his best to not be noticed or do anything too extreme to bring attention to himself, which is why he later is shown being asked and questioned as to why he felt his test was a perfect 50-50 score, something that is obviously being done deliberately. So he's holding back his intelligence, but why? That still is a mystery as of now, but I'm sure it will be touched on and hopefully completely revealed in season 2. We can only hope. Now the only other person that's isolated like him is his classmate that sits next to him, Horikita. But she still is more normal than Ayanokouji. At first I thought she was a lot like him, quiet and secluded, which almost didn't make me question Ayanokouji's way of being since there was someone else similar to him. Since Horikita seems smart herself also, it just kind of made sense that this is just part of the characters. But you start to see she is a lot more normal than him. She still shows facial expressions, gets visibly sad and frustrated, despite still being an odd character. Her brother is a student council president, but she's in class D. Not much is said as to why or how this happened. It is something that you normally wouldn't expect. You'd think she'd be as gifted as her brother. But as the show progresses, you slowly start to realize the students in class D are honestly pretty weird and different, which reminded me how they are also called defective, which could also be like they have talent, but something about them holds them back. I don't know. But I do know the dude with the blonde hair and that's buff as fuck and acts like he's better than everybody and almost like a noble you would think he's in class A. Stands out a lot. He also looks like he should just be in class D and at all. I almost feel like he knows more than he lets on. He gets a decent amount of screen time, but nothing ever too big. but more than I would think is necessary for a non-important character, which is why I think he may later come out to be part of something bigger or revealed to be someone of significance, or that's just his cocky character, you know, way of being. All in all, I'm excited for season 2. I expect there to be a lot of new reveals of the character, especially Ayanokouji and his past. Hopefully. There will be 13 episodes in season 2, so one more than the first season, and the studios have not changed, which is great because when studios change and the art is off, it can sometimes mess with the show's likableness. At least for me, I noticed a pretty kind of like think back 7 Deadly Sins, season 1, season 2, season 3, how it got progressively worse. Great storyline, horrible art, animation. But I'm sure Studio Lurch will not disappoint. So if you haven't seen this anime, go out and watch it. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Are you hyped for the second season? And if you have already started it, what do you think so far? Well, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you again next time.